Do this question which is on your screen. The formula of a chloride of a metal X is XCl2. State the formula of its sulfate and hydroxide. Okay, start solving this. I hope you all can see and hear me. If you can't hear me or see me, please let me know. Can you just put it in the chat or anything? Okay, because I've kept you all on mute. If there is any problem, raise your hand or put a message on the chat. I'll answer your questions. Okay, so the formula of the compound is given as XCl2. You have to find the formula of X ka sulfate and X ka hydroxide. Okay. Okay, I hope you are done with it. Okay. Okay, so the formula of chloride of X is XCl2. So what would be the formula of the sulfate? Okay, so how do we do that? We have the formula of the compound as XCl2. We know what is the valency of chloride. It is -1. Okay, so if the formula of chloride is -1 and the compound has a formula, sorry, valency of chloride is -1 and the compound formula is XCl2, the valency of X should be +2. Now, how is that possible? Because if I am writing this X as 2 plus and Cl as -1, that is when we go around and exchange the valencies of these ions which is present over here. That is this 2. It will go from here, it will go below chloride, and this 1 will be put below X. So this is how we get the formula of the compound as XCl2. Okay, so from this we get to know that the valency of X is X2 plus. Okay, X2 plus. So when we know the valency of X is X2 plus. Okay, so find the formula. I'm sorry, I'm having internet troubles today. I don't know what happened. So only people are working a lot, I guess. Okay, so the formula of the sulfate of X from this case would be X with a valency of 2 plus, and you know the formula of sulfate, it is SO4 and the valency of sulfate is 2 minus. So I'll write the formula over here. Okay, so this goes like this, right? So this is how the valencies are substituted. Now what you have to do is you just have to interchange the valencies. So 2 comes below X, so this becomes X2, and you write sulfate SO4. Okay, so SO4. So this is X2 and this is SO4. SO4 being a radical has to go in a bracket. So you put a bracket here. And this 2 comes out of the bracket. Okay, so the formula of the compound, we have to cancel these two numbers. They are the same numbers, 2 and 2. So what we do is we cancel those two numbers. So this 2 is gone. Since this 2 is gone, the bracket will also be going, and this 2 is also gone. So the formula of the compound having sulfate would be XSO4. And going for hydroxide, valency of X is taken as X2 plus. Okay, so X2 plus, and then we have hydroxide. The formula of hydroxide is OH, and the valency of OH is 1 minus. So I'll write it like this. Now, this becomes exchange of valency. So I'll write X over here. Valency of OH is 1. So I'll be writing 1 below X. So this will be like X1. And then I'll write OH. OH is a radical. So I'll put the radical in a box. I mean a bracket. Okay. And 2 is the valency of X. So I'll be writing 2 over here. Okay. So this is how we substitute the formula, and then now we can see that this is 1 over here. I already told you whenever it is 1 we don't have to write 1 there. So this will be X, and then we just copy down this whole thing. So this will be like X OH twice. Okay, so this is how we find out the formula of compounds when you have been given any one formula. Okay, now if there is any doubt, you can raise your hand, you can put it in chat because I can't hear. Okay, Aniket, am I audible to you? Aniket, can you hear me?
Sir, your voice is breaking.
Even now? Can you hear me now?
Sir, your voice is breaking.
Even now?
Yeah, it's breaking, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Could you solve this question?
Yeah.
Could you solve this question?
What is which one, sir?
The one which I gave you now.
I don't. It's nothing on the valency of
Did you find the formula of the sulfate and hydroxide? That's a question.
nitrogen. No.
What are you saying? Nitrogen. Where did nitrogen?
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Network sucks.
Hello.
Yes. Yes, Siddhita, what's the question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Do we have to write the whole crisscross method, or we can
No,
directly
you
write
don't
the
have to.
formula?
You don't have to. You can directly write the formula. Okay, you just have to show how did you find the formula of X. I mean the valency of X. That's all you need to show. Apart from that, you don't have to show anything. Okay, this I'm just doing it because there might be people who don't know how to do it. So that's the reason why I'm explaining this. Otherwise, you don't have to do it. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So moving on, the next type of question which we are doing now is to find the valency of an element in a formula. Okay, in a compound which is given to you, the formula will be given to you and you'll be finding out the valency of that element in that particular formula. Okay, is there anyone else who has got any doubt in this thing? Please clarify. This kind of question is going to come in your exam. So if it is not clear, please tell me. Okay, Arush. Okay. Yes,
Sir?
Arush. Yes, Arush.
Yeah, your voice is completely breaking.
Okay, I'm having some internet issues, Arush, but I hope the explanation given on the screen is good enough.
Yeah, I'm only understanding by the screen.
Yeah, okay. If there's any doubt apart from that, please ask. Okay, I'll just unmute you and I'll clarify this thing if you can't hear me. Okay, properly.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the next type of question, as I told you, is to find the valency of an element in a formula or a compound which is given to you. So the formulas are NO, N2 or NO2, and you have to find the valency of nitrogen. This is an important question. Why? Because this type of question was asked in this year's paper for grade 9. Okay, so how do you find that out? Is the same method what we used over here. Okay, it's just like we just stopped over here. Like in these questions we identified the valency of an element, and then we found out what if we use the valency for finding another formula using the same elements, right? So in this what we are doing is we are only finding the valency of a particular element in a compound. Okay, yes, doubts. Yes, those who have raised your hand, I have unmuted you. What is your doubt?
Sir, in the
Okay, what
last,
happened?
the nitrogen's valency is 4. Why is that?
I'll tell you. I'm going to explain that. Okay, just
Okay, fine.
okay. Okay, so how this is going to happen is, see, an element might have different valencies in different compounds. That is what has been explained over here. Okay, so we can see that these are three different oxides of nitrogen. The first one is nitric oxide, the second one is nitrous oxide, and the third one is nitrogen dioxide. Okay, these are three different types of oxides. Okay, so here we have to identify the valency of nitrogen in all these three compounds. Okay, so nitric oxide or nitrogen monoxide, in this, since we have to find the valency of nitrogen, we have to know the valency of oxygen, and we are just comparing the number of atoms which are present in that particular compound. Okay, so in the first compound we have got one atom of oxygen and one atom of nitrogen. So the valency of oxide remains the same, because that is something which we are taking as a relative measure. So oxide always remains as O2 minus, and if I put the value of oxide as O2 minus, automatically the value of N in the first formula becomes 2 minus, because it is NO. So you need to know that if the valency of O is 2, N should also be 2, so that it cancels off and the formula becomes NO. Okay, so it's like the first example which we solved today. That's the reason why the valency of nitrogen in the first compound is 2 plus. Okay, in the second compound, that is nitrous oxide, you can see that for one atom of oxygen we have got two atoms of nitrogen. Okay, so valency of oxide remains the same, that is 2 remains the same, but then that 2 is shared by two atoms of nitrogen. Okay, so that 2 is shared by two atoms of nitrogen, so that is the reason why it goes 1 each for each nitrogen atom, and that is the reason why the valency of nitrogen becomes 1 over here. Okay, because this is 2 and there are two atoms who are sharing that valency, so it is like 2 divided by 2, that is 1. So that is why the valency of nitrogen in nitrous oxide is 1. Similarly, in nitrogen dioxide, what happens is that oxygen, again oxide has the same valency 2 minus, but then that 2 minus is for one oxygen atom. Okay, and we have got two oxygen atoms over here, O2. So 2 oxygen atom will be giving you 2 into 2, that is 4. Minus 4 will be the total valency of oxygen over here in nitrogen dioxide. Okay, and that's the reason why the whole thing, that is this O2, will be carrying a charge of minus 4. Okay, so it will be like O2 will be given a charge of 4 minus, and since we have got only one nitrogen atom, the whole 4 thing goes for the nitrogen, and hence nitrogen gets a valency of 4 plus. Okay, so this is how we get the valency of nitrogen are 4 plus over here, and that is why it is written as N4 plus. Now there should not be any doubts like, but then N does not have a valency of 4 plus. Yeah, we know that, but this is how compounds become stable. Okay, and this is not how we are changing the valency of that element. Valency of the element remains the same. Valency of nitrogen is always 3 minus, but then when it is combining with different number of atoms for different compounds, the valency changes. Okay, but then that doesn't mean that the valency of nitrogen, like, is changing all the time. Okay, it just changes for the record of, like, how we taking different compounds in that, depending on the number of atoms of that same element or the number of atoms of different element with which is combining, the valency of that particular thing will change. Okay, so this is an important question, okay, which you need to know. I hope this is understood. Okay, so we can find out the valency of this thing. I'll give you a question. I will not give it right now because I guess the time's like really less because of this internet thing. Okay, I couldn't, like, do it properly. So I will go on to the next topic. You have any doubts, you have a group, or you can DM me. Okay, I'll clarify your doubts. Okay, I don't want to waste the time now. Whatever doubts you have, just put it on message. Okay, I'll reply to your messages. Okay, so the next topic which you're studying today is relative atomic mass and relative molecular mass. Okay, these are very important topics because we'll be using it for the calculation, numericals. As I told you, we'll be using it for calculating numericals. So relative atomic mass of an element is number of times one atom of an element is heavier than 1/12 the mass of an atom of carbon, and the isotope of carbon which we are taking in this case is carbon 12. Okay, C12, we know that carbon has got isotopes. You have got 3 isotopes. Okay, so that is relative atomic mass. Now why are we saying it as relative atomic mass? Is because see, the mass of an atom, as you already know, that it's actually a very small substance, so you actually cannot weigh an atom. Okay, so what we do is we take the weight of other, like, atoms which are, like, which can be easily used, and that's the reason why we are using carbon over here. Before using carbon, like, scientists used to have, like, hydrogen and oxygen as other options. We have studied that in grade 8 also, like, we had used it as, like, standard atomic mass. Okay, but then carbon gave the best results when we are relating it to atoms of other elements. That's the reason why we are sticking to carbon, and that is being followed since then. Okay, so since the weight of an atom is very, very small, what happens is that we have to have a substance with which we can relate the weight of that particular atom. Okay, just like how we, like, go buy fruits or vegetables, like we place a weight on one of the pans, and then, like, we put the vegetables or the fruits on the other pan, and we relate the weight of those two things. The same happens over here. We take an atom of carbon as the, like, substance which we, like, it's a standard substance, and then with respect to that we put in the number of atoms or the weight of, like, number of atoms of that particular element which we have to find out, and we get the number of atoms according to that. So if I am taking, like, 1/12 the mass of an atom of carbon, whatever mass of that particular element which we are finding out, we get the relative atomic mass of that particular element. Atomic mass is weight of one atom. Okay, so atomic mass of like certain elements are being given on the screen, like hydrogen is 1, helium is 4, nitrogen is 14, and oxygen is, this is actually 16, this is not 32. Okay, this is 16, this is not 32. Okay, and relative molecular mass is the second topic. Relative molecular mass, the only difference between atomic mass and molecular mass is that in this case we are finding the mass of a molecule. Okay, there you are finding the mass of an atom, here we are finding the mass of a molecule. So the formula, I mean the definition remains the same, that is RMM. RMM is relative molecular mass. RMM of an element or a compound is the number of times one molecule of that substance is heavier than 1/12 the mass of an atom of carbon. Okay, so it is like if I'm finding the relative molecular mass of, say, carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is a molecule. So if I take one molecule of carbon dioxide, I relate it to the mass of 1/12 the atom of carbon, and I get the relative molecular mass of carbon dioxide. Okay, so it is also called as molecular weight. Similarly, relative atomic mass is also known as atomic weight. Okay, and that is considered as weight only when we have like, you know, the weight expressed in grams. And RMM is found out by taking all the atomic weights of the elements in that compound and adding up. Say if I'm taking carbon dioxide, I'll be taking atomic weight of carbon plus atomic weight of oxygen.